take a look at the D first. The D color is green. Why? Why do you think the D color is green? Money, and it means go, right? These people are on the go. We've got some D words for you to describe the D. Ds are dominant, demanding, direct, determined, decisive, dictatorial, dogmatic, driving, diligent, dynamic doers who can be defiant. The last word in the series is the problem word, defiant. I knew my oldest son was a D from a very young age. When he was 7 years old, he's standing in the kitchen, and I'm at one end of the table, my wife's at the other end of the table, and he's arguing with my wife over something. I said, Zach, don't you argue with your mother? He said, why not, Dad? You always do. I said, I will get you when she's gone. You're toast. Okay? D's can be defiant. They're dominant, they're direct, they're decisive, they're dogmatic. If a D wants your opinion, he'll give it to you. Okay? They're drivers. This is the driver personality. Now, how many people think your dad is or may have been a D? Okay. What did your dad always say the night before you're going on vacation? You kids better get to bed soon because tomorrow I want to get an early start. And there'll be two things true at 04:30 when we get our early start. Number one, the gas tank will be full, and number two, your bladders will be empty. And we will drive and drive and drive until, again, two things are true. The gas tank is empty and your bladder is full. Now, heaven forbid your bladder should fill before the gas tank empties, right? Because you'll be sitting back there going, Dad, can we pull 5 more minutes? Right? Finally, when you convince him to pull over, what does he do? You got 4 minutes, go! So you run in there, you do your business as fast as you possibly can. As soon as you get back out in the car, Dad gets back out on the highway, what's he thinking? I passed these people already. This is not a vacation, this is a mission. Point A to point B, 600 miles a day. Go, 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 go! Those are the D's. Drivers. Now let me give you some, by the way, their symbol, go back to symbol for a second, their symbol is the exclamation point. Why? Because they're kind of in your face, right? These are the aggressive people that are going to be in your face. Let me give you some D's out there who are certainly people we would all know. Donald Trump would be a D, right? Mr. Ego, okay? Donald Trump. Definitely a D. He's still thinking about getting in the presidential race, isn't he? You know, he's always going to keep the media guessing. I just might get in if there's not a good candidate. The people need me. Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son. Now, Billy Graham is an S, but Franklin Graham, his son, is a D. I don't know, you guys, this is 10 years ago now, 9/11. Right after 9/11, Franklin Graham said, Islam is evil. And everybody came down hard on him. You can't say that. You know what Franklin Graham did? He put it in the Wall Street Journal. December 3rd, 2001. Islam is evil. There, I said it. Okay? That's what Franklin Graham said. I mean, he doesn't pull any punches. And Franklin Graham, if you ever notice when Franklin Graham goes on one of these TV shows like Hannity or something, first of all, he won't do an interview that isn't live because he won't let people cut him up. And it doesn't matter what the subject is, Franklin Graham will always turn the conversation to the gospel. Doesn't matter what it is. Franklin, I hear you got a new plane. Yeah, that's right, we did get a new plane, and that plane will take us places where we can preach the gospel. You know, it doesn't matter. He's going to turn it to the gospel. All right? Richard Dawkins is a D. The guy I had up there earlier, the big atheist. He said anyone who's a creationist is either wicked, stupid, or insane. I mean, just real aggressive. The God delusion. You know, you're deluded if you believe in God. This is very aggressive. Now, our biblical example is the Apostle Paul, right? What does the Apostle Paul do? Before the Apostle Paul became a Christian, what was he doing? He was persecuting Christians, killing Christians. He was a direct, demanding, decisive, determined, dictatorial, dogmatic Non-Christian. After he became a Christian, he was a direct, decisive, dictatorial, dogmatic, defiant Christian. See, God doesn't change your personality, he just uses it. Because your personality can be used. Even in Galatians. What does he say in Galatians? In Galatians chapter 2, he says, I told the apostle, I told Peter to his face that he was wrong for trying to get these New Testament believers to obey the Old Testament law. He's just right out in the scripture. I told Peter he was wrong. And then if you notice in 2 Timothy, there's a passage in, I think it's 1st or 2nd Corinthians, where he talks about, you think you're tough? You should see what I've been through. You know, he starts boasting about all the beatings he's had and all the whippings and the shipwrecks and being naked and stoned. And he just goes on and on about it. This is a D. All right, the strengths of the D, they are courageous. The weaknesses, they are reckless. In fact, I always tell ladies, if you ever marry a D, never let the D husband come home and put together a swing set for your kids. Why? What does a D husband do? Just dumps out all the parts, starts putting pieces together. When he's done, he's got 15 extra parts. Meanwhile, you've got an unsafe swing set in your backyard, right? Now compare that to this guy. What does this guy do if he brings a swing set home? He is measuring every bolt by the picture in the instructions, right? If there's one nut missing, what's he doing? He's on the phone to the factory. There's a nut missing from my swing set. Send it immediately. This is a safety issue. Their goal-oriented problem is they can be impatient. I've been praying for patience for quite a while, and frankly, I'm getting tired of waiting for it. They are direct. They can be offensive. They are confident. Problem is they can be cocky. Zig Ziglar is a D. He's a Christian motivational speaker. He's in his 80s now. He had a class many years ago, and probably you may have had a class like this, where the first thing the professor said at the beginning of class was, as you're all sitting there the very first day, you're a little nervous, hard class like biology or something. His professor said, half of you are going to fail this class. So Zig got up, he started heading for the door. And as he's reaching for the door, the professor said, son, where are you going? And Zig said, I'll come back when you can teach it better. Now that's confident, probably a little cocky. I'm sure when he came back, he did not get in that guy's section, you know. They are competitive. Problem is they can be ruthless. A D playing checkers with a 3-year-old has to win. Move here, kid. Hey, I told you never to trust Uncle Frank. You're out of here. They have to win. You know the D's if you've ever been to a deep event, right? A deep event where you've got the volleyball net set up. What are the normal people doing? Oh, they're just hitting the ball back and forth. They may have a soda while they're playing, you know. What are the D's doing? They're spiking the ball on grandma. They're arguing calls in and out. Grandma walks away with Voight imprinted on her forehead. You know, they have to win. I was at a church picnic not long ago with a real high D, a guy who used to work for Bank of America way up the food chain. And we're just sitting there watching women and children play volleyball. And he looks at me and he goes, Frank! I go, what? He goes, let's go play. I go, okay. So we walk. As the game is going on, he walks right in the middle of the field, in the court, and the net's right here. As the game's going on, and he says, through the net to the other side, hey, what's the score? And they said, oh, we're not keeping score. I said, not keeping score? Give me that ball. 1. D's can't play for fun. They play for keeps. Growing up, my 3 sons, we'd go up to my sister's house, and her husband, my brother-in-law, is such a high D. They'd play foosball together. My brother-in-law's a weightlifter, you know, and if they started beating him, he'd start sweating. He'd be like, you know, he just couldn't. Jim, he's 4 years old. You know, he just have to win. D's have to win. The basic, the basic need for a D, challenge and control. That's what Ds want. Look, if you want to motivate a D, what do you say to him? Hey, I don't think you can do that. What do Ds say? Oh yeah, you just watch me as I walk over your face on my way there. Can't do something. Don't you tell me I can't do something. Got to give them control too. Ideal job for a D. What do you think the ideal job is? CEO, pastor, gangster. Okay? That's right. Organized crime. Yes, anything control-oriented. If you give these people control, if you're in a work environment or a church environment and you want them to thrive, give them control. You can come in when you want to come in as long as you get your job done, right? You can go here and do that and come and go as you please as long as you get your job done. They're happy with that. But if you try and micromanage them, forget it. In fact, can you give a D an order? No, you can't give a D an order. You give a D an order. You know what the D hears? You want to fight? That's what the D hears, okay? You got to make suggestions to the D, right? Now, it's very simple if you're a D to make out your monthly to-do list. Here's a D making out his monthly to-do list. Check this out. Kill something and eat it. You just write that same thing down every day. By the way, Ds do not make good counselors. Okay, I'm a D and I'm not a good counselor. People come in and they want to counsel with me. I go, okay, go ahead. What's the problem? What's the problem? Okay. You screwed up. Fix it. Right? You know the problem. It's your fault. Don't come in here crying to me. There's a job to be done. Get out there. Actually, Ds don't have time to listen. Right. Why? They don't have time because they already know the answer anyway. Okay? They don't need to listen. Listens for sissies and weaklings. This reminds me of one of my favorite commercials. Check this out. Here's a D, counseling.
And that's why yellow makes me sad, I think.
That's interesting. You know what makes me sad? You do! Maybe we should chug on over to Mamby-Pamby land where maybe we can find some self-confidence for you, you jackwagon! Tissue? Cry, baby.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Yes, that's a D, counselor. Okay, how many people in here are Ds? Can I see your hands, please? Ds. Okay, the only personality that will deny what they are the Ds. I am not a D, man, I'm telling you. Defiant. There you go. So you are a D. By the way, who else can you think of in society who are Ds? I gave you a few examples. Who else can you think of? Think, yeah, that guy there. Think sports. Well, he's got a lot of I, too. Terrell Owens. Who else? Huh? Ditka. That bears. Bill Parcells. John Gruden. Who used to be the coach down there in Indiana? Bobby Knight. Remember? The call doesn't go his way. He throws all the chairs on the court. Okay? Who else can you think of who are Ds? My dad. That's good. That'll help, Caitlin. Thanks. For people viewing at home, that's Caitlin's dad, a D. All right, I got the example now. How about Tiger Woods? Oh, totally. Mr. Competition. Certainly Phil Mickelson isn't, right? Phil Mickelson's, loping along, smiling. He could be 10 strokes down. He's smiling. What's Tiger Woods doing? He's breaking clubs and throwing stuff around. John McEnroe, you can't be serious. The line judge makes a call. You can't be serious. I mean, that's his whole deal, right? He throws a temper tantrum. So you can think of Ds quite easily. Any women can you think who are Ds? My mom. Thank you. That's good. Hillary Clinton is a D. Yeah, I bet she's going to run against Obama. Stand by. Who else do you think of? Huh? Rosie O'Donnell will be a D. All right, you got enough. All right, let's move on over to the eyes. The eye color is red. Why? Can't you see them driving in their red convertible? Waving. One hand on the radio, one hand waving. Nobody's driving, but that's okay. And their symbol is the star. Why? Why is their symbol the star? Because they are the star. They want to be the star, and there's no better way to motivate an I child than to put a star next to her name. What could be better than one star? Two stars! Put 2 stars next to an I child's name, and she is pumped. Now, you try and motivate a D child with a star. What does a D child say? Star. Keep your stupid stars. Put me in charge, right? Either that or show me the money. Let me give you some I words to describe the I. I's are inspirational, influencing, inducing, impressive, interesting, impressionable, important, interesting, people, impulsive, imaginative, inviting. Problem word can be illogical. Why? What are I's swayed by? Emotion. Swayed by emotion rather than facts. And I's, for this reason, quite frequently, they're so people-oriented and emotional that they usually don't keep a good calendar. In fact, you'll say your I friend, hey, let's meet for lunch. Okay, I'll be there. Cool, can't wait. It's going to be great. Okay, let's meet at Wendy's at 11:30. I'll be there. Can't wait to see it. You're there at 11:30. When do they show up? Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're done eating at like 5 or 12, and then they come in the door at Wendy's, and you're across the room, and as soon as they see you, what do? And you're going, where you been? You thought maybe they were in a car accident. No, what happened? They just got talking, right? They got talking to somebody. On the way they got talking. It has nothing to do with the schedule. They're influencing, they're inducing. I's are always trying to get you to do stuff. I had a friend in college who was such a high I. He'd say, hey, Frank, you want to go down to the Commons? I'd go, no, Jim, I don't want to go now. He'd go, okay. How about now? You want to go now? No, Jim, I don't want to go now. Okay, how about now? You want to go now? But finally, you just go, right? They're impressionable. What I mean by that is wherever they go, they're impressed by it. Like the I goes to the movies. The I walks out of the movies going, I'd have been a great movie star. They go to the dentist. You know, I should have been a dentist. They go on an airplane ride. I'd have been a great pilot. Wherever they go, they're impressed by it. And by the way, whatever movie they've just gone to, best movie ever made. You got to see it. And by the way, you never go to a movie with a high I who's seen it before. Right? What do they wind up doing? Hey, look at this part. I'm watching. It's right here. It's right in front of my face. No, this is the good part. I'm telling you. Will you knock it off? I know. Look, he's going to come out of the closet. Will you? They can't. They just have to say. They're also interested in people. My sister's a high I. What magazine does she get in the mail every week? People magazine. Now, People magazine to an I is wonderful, but People magazine to a D is like Krypton to Superman. Who cares? Who cares who's dating who? I don't care. Give me some important information. Like the Wall Street Journal or something. Come on. All right, let me give you some I words to describe the I. Examples of I's. Well, I heard there's the I words. Let me give you some examples of I's out there. Joe Biden, our vice president, is an I. You notice? Open mouth, insert foot. Everything he says is funny, or he thinks he's funny. He's always just joking around. He never stays on script. He just kind of goes out there and just wings it. And he wears the shirts with the white collars. And you can see him before he's, the blue shirt with the white collar. And you guys are too young for this, but maybe the folks at home will know. Have you guys ever seen the Mary Tyler Moore Show? You know what I'm talking about? This goes way back. But there was a character on that show, Ted Knight. Ted Baxter, I think his name was on the, it was played by Ted Knight on the show. And Joe Biden is Ted Knight. Ted Knight. He was in the movie Caddyshack. Have you ever saw that? You know, you handsome devil, that guy. He is just the epitome of Ted Knight. Joe Biden. Also, Katie Couric and I have a theory as to why her news broadcast didn't go very well, because everybody remembers her as the perky Katie Couric on the Today Show who did puff interviews, not a serious news person. So they put her in the news anchor, and people are going, well, she's not that kind of person. She doesn't have that gravitas, as they say, you know. She's just happy and fun. Jim Carrey and I. Right? Or he plays one anyway. Robin Williams, perhaps the highest I have ever seen. Have you guys seen the movie Aladdin? Remember that movie? Robin Williams plays the genie. What happens when the genie shows up in the movie? He just takes the thing over. You know how they made that movie Aladdin? They said, we kind of have a loose script here, Robin, so you just do whatever you want and we'll animate around you. That's what they did. He just ad-libbed so much of that because he's just so witty and funny. Now our biblical example is the Apostle Peter. The Apostle Peter always opened his mouth and then later regretted it. I'll never deny you, Lord. Hey, Lord, this isn't going to happen. Get behind me, Satan. The Lord has to rebuke him. There's a real, this is amazing. This is in Matthew chapter 17. This is the transfiguration. You guys know what the transfiguration is? Check this out. You're not going to believe this. This is what Peter says. I'll just read this section here. This is Matthew 17, 1 and following. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them high up the mountain by themselves. There he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. Just then appeared before them Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. Now you would think Peter would say something quite profound at this point, right? Here's what Peter says. Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. What? Hey, Lord, I see you there with Moses and Elijah. It's good for us to be here. Okay. Then he goes, if you wish, I will put up these shelters, or 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. These people are transfigured, and Peter thinks, let's build these guys some tents. What are you talking about here? He always spoke before speaking, it seemed, the Apostle Peter, okay? Strengths, these folks are optimistic. Weaknesses, they can be unrealistic. These are the folks that have the big plans, very optimistic, but then they fizzle. These folks are also spontaneous. Problem is they can be impulsive. High eyes, credit cards, and malls don't mix. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. They're talkative. Problem is they won't shut up. In the old days when we had answering machines, if you had a high eye call you, you would go home and you would see your answering machine blinking twice and you'd hit the button. Doot, and you'd be a high eye friend. Hey, where you been? What's been going on all day? I've been looking for you all day. Da, 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 da. Doot, doot. Hey, your machine cut me off. What's the matter with that thing? They cannot leave a short message. They are fun. Problem is they can be unfocused. 3 sons, oldest one, a D growing up, middle one, an I. My son Spencer, he's more of a D now, but when he was 5 years old, red hair, freckles, always smiling. We had him in 5-year-old soccer. You ever see 5-year-olds play soccer? Woo! It's like a herd, right? Wherever the ball is, that's where the whole team is. So I told my son Spencer, I said, Spencer, I was in D-dad mode. Spencer, you're playing defense. You're playing defense. When you see the ball come to you, you kick it, but then don't go with the herd. So he goes, okay, Dad. So the game starts. The ball goes down to the other end of the field. Both herds from both teams go down the other end of the field. The only kid on the other end of the field is my son Spencer. So he's just standing there, and I yell out, I go, Spencer! He goes, hey, Dad! I go, good job, good job. Suddenly the ball gets kicked out of the herd. It's heading towards Spencer. So I yell out, I go, Spencer! He goes, hey, Dad! I go, no, Spencer, the ball, the ball. He looks down, sees the ball coming to him, then looks up, sees this whole wave of kids. What does he do? Takes the ball, kicks it into his own goal. Score! Score! He's having fun. He's just a little bit unfocused. Well, there was another kid in the league who was not only a high eye, he was also ADD. And he was a little short for his age, so his shorts were about down to here, and he's playing goalie. And he's in this huge goal compared to him. And as the game's going on, the ball is about from him to where Curtis is there. The other team has the ball. And this kid, Aaron, who is a friend of the family, his family's friend of our family, he had his hand in the net, and he's kind of back here going this. So his mother, who's a big executive, yells out, she's a D, Aaron, get your hand out of the net. His hand's out of the net. 2 minutes later, where's his hand again? Aaron, get your hand out of the net. Suddenly, the ball gets kicked down completely to the other end of the field. Both herds from both teams go down the other end of the field. It's real exciting on the other end of the field. It's down there for 4 or 5 minutes. Then one kid, by the way, all the attention from all the parents is down there. Nobody's looking down at this end. Then one kid emerges from the herd with the ball, and he's heading with a breakaway toward Aaron's goal. All the parents look down toward Aaron's goal. Where's Aaron? Like a fly in a spider web. He is completely entrapped in the net. No exaggeration. The refs had to stop the game to untangle poor Aaron from the net. He's having fun, he's just a little bit unfocused. Can you imagine that? You're playing goalie and some guy's a breakaway to your goal and you are trapped in the back of the net. There was another kid in the league, same thing happened to him. He's playing goalie, ball goes down the other end of the field. Then a guy emerges with the ball 4 minutes later or 5 minutes later, and all the parents look down. The kid is gone. The goalie. You know when they found him? They found him at the hot dog stand trying to buy a hot dog. Hey, there's nothing going on here. Let me go get something to eat. Having fun, just a little bit unfocused. High eyes are great starters, but they are poor finishers. High eyes won't tell you this, but they really can't read. Here's how the high eye, they have attention span of a gnat. Here's how the high eye, when I say high, I mean someone who tests high in this category. Here's how the high eye will read the sentence, the boy went to the store. The boy. I remember when I was a boy. We used to have a good time down at the beach, went to the store. My dad had a store. I mean, they're just thinking about other things. Or if you have any eye in you at all, this has happened to you, driving. You're just driving along and suddenly a horrified look will come over your face. And you'll go, how did I get here? Did I just go through that red light? I mean, you're thinking about other things, right? You don't have time to think. Basic need for an eye. What do eyes want? What do eyes want? Recognition and approval. Recognition and approval. They have to be recognized. They have to be recognized. Can you put this person behind a computer all day in a cube? No. You can put a C behind a computer in a cube. They don't need to talk to another person all day. But an eye, I guarantee within 10 minutes they'll be looking over that cue ball going, hey, what are you doing over there? You know, they have to talk and they have to be recognized. Absolutely have to be recognized. Now, if you say, I don't think you can do it to an eye, what does the eye say? Why should I try? I'm not going to get any recognition out of it. What's the ideal job for an eye? What do they want? Sales. Anything people-oriented. They got to be with people. They can't be behind a computer. They can't be behind a desk all day. They got to interact. People-oriented. Now, high eyes sometimes shoot their mouse off before they have all the facts, okay? Like Peter. Here's a high-eye dog before he shoots, or let me say that again. Here's a high-eye dog shooting his mouth off before he has all the facts. Ha, 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 Biff, guess what? After we go to the drugstore and the post office, I'm going to the vets to get tutored. Some of you will get that tomorrow. Look at him, he's all happy, wagging his tail there. Tutored, neutered. Okay, good. Now, high eyes also are great optimists. The D's are probably the most productive people. The I's are the funnest people, but the S's are the nicest people. Okay? It's hard to find an S you don't like. You can see they come out, they sit next to you, they're very warm and friendly. Let me give you some S words that describe the S. S's are steady, stable, secure, supportive, servant, sweet, submissive, shy, status quo, sentimental, self-controlled, susceptible, another word, suckers. Why? Because S's can't say no. In fact, I did this seminar once and a lady came up to me and said, my husband's such a high S, he cannot answer the phone during the dinner hour. Why? Who's calling during the dinner hour? Telemarketer. She said, we're buying stuff we don't want with money. We don't have to impress people we don't even like. Okay? He just can't say no. Now, S's, they're very sweet, they're very supportive, they're servant people. Some of them are so sweet they'll make a diabetic sick. I mean, they are just nice people. It's hard to find an S you don't like. Now, S's, let me give you some examples of S's out here. Billy Graham, an S. Billy Graham, an S, very nice, genteel man. He was forceful when he needed to be, but just very nice and sweet, supportive. How many have ever been to the Billy Graham Library up here in Charlotte? You got to go if you haven't been there. It's pretty amazing The impact one man had. Do you know Billy Graham has met with every president since Truman? I mean, think about this. Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Nixon, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, and Obama. He's met with all of them. Wow. The nation's pastor. He's in his 90s now, as you know. Still lives up here in the mountains of North Carolina. And his son Franklin has really taken over most of his work. But amazing. He's been preaching the gospel since Truman was president. Do you know he filled Madison Square Garden at some point in the 50s in New York for 16 straight weeks every night. Except for like Monday he took off. 16 straight weeks, 20,000 people come here and preach. Amazing. Also, Tony Dungy. Now, Tony Dungy, who's that? Remember the coach of the Indianapolis Colts who's now on NBC Monday or Sunday Night Football now, who's kind of a genteel guy. He's a Christian. You don't have to be a hard-charging, swearing D to be a football coach. In fact, Lovie Smith of the Bears is also a Christian and appears to be kind of an S. Nice, warm, friendly person. Barney is an S. Can't we all just get along, boys and girls? Also, Mr. Rogers. Did you grow up with Mr. Rogers? Didn't you love Mr. Rogers? Can you say kindness, boys and girls? Now, that's different from Mr. Robinson. You remember Mr. Robinson? Eddie Murphy's Mr. Robinson? Who is it? It's the landlord. Remember that? Can you say scumbucket, boys and girls? Totally different. And, of course, the Apostle John would be our example. The disciple whom Jesus loved. Isn't that so sweet? He never put his name in the gospel, did he? He was just the disciple whom Jesus loved. And all the other apostles were martyred. Not John. He was too nice. Just put him on an island. Okay? It's just too nice. We can't martyr John. Strengths, they are cooperative. Weaknesses, they can be a sucker. They can't say no. They are relaxed. Problem is they can be procrastinating. Right? I mean, a friend of mine was such a high S growing up, his mother used to say, "You'll never get anywhere because all you do is procrastinate." And he said, "Oh yeah? You just wait." They are amiable. Problem is they can be quiet and scared. An S child is the only child you can correct with a facial expression. S child gets out of line, all you need to do is this. S child will go, oh. You try that with a D child. D child gets out of line, you go like this. What does a D child do? Right back at you. Bring it on. You want a piece of me? Come on. How about an I child gets out of line? You give the I child the old stern look. What does the I child do? Make a joke out of it. By the way, they're quiet and scared because S's live in perpetual fear of the D. Because they're opposites, right? The D is fast and task-oriented. S is people-oriented and slow. They're opposites. And it's just like the I's and the C's. They're opposites. Now, opposites attract. Well, some of you, a couple in here are married already, but you probably marry an opposite. Opposites attract, but they also attack. Especially if you don't know this. You got to know why these people aren't normal just like you. They are loyal. Problem is they can be resentful. Now, if you annoy a D, what does the D say right away? Hey, knock it off. 2 minutes later, they go, hey, let's go get something to eat. They're over it, right? S's don't work that way. If you annoy an S, what does the S do? Nothing. They just take it on board. Then you do something else to annoy them? Nothing. They just take it on board. And then another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and then one day you ask them for a paper clip, and boom! They pick up an axe and wipe out the whole church. You know? Like, what? What was that? Well, it wasn't the paper clip. It was all this. Then boom. S's are passive aggressive. We have an S here who relates. S's are passive aggressive because while all this is going on, you come to the S and say, can you help me with this? And they go, sure, I'll help you with it as soon as you leave. I'm not doing that. I can't believe it. They're just passive aggressive. D's blow it off right away. S's don't. S's can't stand conflict until they just can't take it anymore. Another thing S's can't stand is change. If you want to really mess with an S and you work with an S, get to the office early one day and rearrange their desk. I'm telling you. They won't know what to do. Their S's are steady, that's another S word, but they're also slow. Happened to me recently. I mean, S's are the folks that brake for yellow lights. Happened to me recently. I see the turn arrow right over here on Providence Road and Ray Road. You know, not Providence Road, on 51. And you're taking a left there in front of Calvary Church. And the turn arrow went from yellow, or from green to yellow. So what do I do being a D? Nail it! Right in front of the church. Doesn't matter. Nail it! What does the S in front of me do? Stops. So here I am. Whoa! I mean, I stopped just in time. And I was 100 yards behind you, and I was going to go, oh, I'm sorry, Pastor. Why are you stopping? In fact, driving is a good illustration of the four personalities. Suppose you have all four personalities going on a trip together. Who's going to drive? D's. D's always drive, have to be in control. Where's the I sitting? Shotgun! Why does the I have to sit shotgun? Yes, so the I can have eye contact with all three passengers in the car, plus have complete control over that radio. Where's the S sitting? In the back, probably riding the hump. In fact, remember when you were a kid you had the hump? Like Brian Reagan, the Christian comedian. I don't know if he's a Christian, but he's a clean comedian. He goes, I was such a nice kid, I used to call the hump. You know, I'll take the hump. Give me the hump, I'll take it. But S's are in the back going, uh-oh, watch out for this guy. Whoa, exit in 4 miles, you better get right. See, S's are your best backseat drivers. What's the C doing in the back? They got the map. You're going the wrong way. How about all four personalities get to the four-way stop at the same time? Who's going to go? The D. D. I don't care who's on the right, who got here first. I don't have time for you people. I'm going. What's the I doing? Hey! Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? What's the S doing at the four-way stop? Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, no. I insist. How many accidents have been caused by multiple S's getting to the four-way stop at the same time? Bang! Of course, the S's never think about the D behind them going, will you stop letting everybody through? Got places to go here. I can't believe this. Now, you know you've got some D in you if you're driving along and there's 2 lanes on your side of the street on the road there, and there's a red light, and there are 2 cars waiting at the red light. And as you're driving up, you're mentally evaluating which car is faster off the line. Let's see, minivan or Corvette? Minivan. Corvette! Now, you don't do that if you're an S. If you're an S, there could be 5 cars in lane 1, 1 car in lane 2, and you will drive up and be content to be the 6th car in lane 1. Now, if a D is in the car with you, he can't handle that. The D will be sitting over there going, move over. Come on, get in the other lane. Come on, we might have to wait another light cycle here. Let's go! I don't know what the D is doing letting you drive anyway. It's ridiculous. Basic need for an S. What's the basic need for an S? What do S's want? Huh? Affirmation, you're close. They want security and appreciation. In fact, they just love appreciation. In the business world, if you deal with an S, if you go meet an S, you have to send them a thank you note. That will warm their heart. They may like that so much, they may send a thank you note thanking you for your thank you note. I mean, that's just so sweet. And if you say, I appreciate you to an S, that's like sticking your finger in the Pillsbury Doughboy's stomach. It's like, ooh, that feels so good. Now you say, I appreciate you to a D. What does the D say? Yeah, you better for all I do around here. You know, this place would have shut down a long time ago if it wasn't for me. You say, I appreciate you to an I. What does the I say? Hey, what do I win? Am I going to see this on my check? You say, I appreciate you to a C. What does the C say? Why are you saying that? You're about to ask me for something, right? What do you want? C's are naturally skeptical. The ideal job for an S. What do S's want? Where do they want to work? Anything service-oriented. They make your best HR directors. They make your best counselors. They make your best teachers. They make your best diplomats. They make your best secretaries. A friend of mine had a D secretary once. That was a mistake. He was old school. He gave her something handwritten to type up. She gave it back to him with red ink corrections all over it. He said, let me get something straight here. Am I working for you or are you working for me? She said, if you did it right the first time, you wouldn't have to do it again. Okay, thank you, General. S's are such nice people that sometimes even their pets can take advantage of them. Here is an S-master with a D-dog. S-master, D-dog. Master, me and Rex took the car to town. Stay home. Stay. Ha, 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 the dog. How many S's do we have in here? S's. Got a fair amount of S's in here.
Is it possible to be one before and then like your personality?
Yeah, sometimes personalities change a little bit. Like my middle son Spencer was more of an I, now he's more of a D. When he was younger, he was more of an I, now he's more of a D. Life experience, big life experience can change that. I noticed, though, a few S's in here were kind of non-committal. In other words, before when I said, how many D's are here? D's went, yep, that's me. And the I's, yep. S's went, oh. Just don't call on me. All right, let's move on to the C's, where the D's are the most productive, the I's are the funnest, the S's are the nicest. What do you think the C's are? C's are usually the smartest. Why? Yes, because they're analytical. You could see their color's yellow, which means caution, and their symbol's the question mark. Why is it the question mark? Because they ask questions nobody else ever asks. Like C questions are questions like, why is there a permanent press setting on irons? Why do we drive in a parkway yet park in a driveway? Why when we send something by land, we call it a shipment. When we send it by sea, we call it cargo. Why is that? Why isn't there another word for a thesaurus? Why isn't phonetic spelled the way it sounds? One of my favorite C questions is this. When you go through a drive-through ATM, why is there Braille there? I mean, do they really think Stevie Wonder's going to drive up and go, hey, man, I need $200. Where is that thing? Oh, there it is. Good. When something doesn't make sense, who do we look to? The government. They said, you got to put Braille on there. They can't even read the screen. What are you putting Braille on there for? Drive-through ATM, please. C's are competent, cognitive, cautious, careful, calculating, critical thinking, compliant, conscientious, correct, conforming, consistent. Problem word can be cold. They don't mean to be cold. They can just come across as cold. A friend of mine from D.C. was dating a woman I had never met, and he was describing her to me on the phone, and he wasn't quite getting along with her very well. And as he was describing her to me, I finally stopped and I said, Bill, is this lady competent, cognitive, cautious, careful, calculating, critical thinking? He said, do you know her? I said, no, you're just dealing with a C. You need to adapt. You need to get into her world and see where she's coming from. Now, let me give you some examples of C's out there. Dick Cheney, a C. And just to show you that we've got both parties in here, so was Al Gore. Although Al Gore recently has become more of a D, but the vice presidents are normally the behind-the-scenes people. They're the detail people. They're not normally the out front people. The exception is the current situation. Because Obama, he has more C in him, but Biden certainly an I. He's the extrovert, right? That's kind of a rare combination. Normally, the guy behind the scenes is more of the analytical one, which it was in previous administrations. Anyone know who this guy is? Will this give you a hint? You know the Mythbusters? Okay, one guy is an I and the other guy's a C. That's what makes for a fun show. One guy's the goofy guy and the other guy is, okay, here's what we got to do to make this work. Right? This guy is a C. Now these guys I think are both atheists, but it's a good show. Right? It's a good show. And Doubting Thomas is our biblical example. I will not believe until what? Till I see the evidence for myself, till I can put my hand in his side and feel the scars in his hands, then I will believe. Give me the evidence, in other words. That's what these people want. They want the evidence. Now, strengths of the C. They are orderly. Problem is they can be compulsive. C's are also detailed. Problem is they can be perfectionists. C's are the folks that tend to proofread Xerox copies. They are correct. Problem is they can be critical. They are very intense. Problem is they can be worrisome. They tend to be glasses half empty people, so you got to keep trying to keep them engaged and enthusiastic. These folks are also logical. Problem is they can be unfeeling. What is the favorite TV game show for a C? Jeopardy, right? Why? Because number one, you got to be brilliant to be on the show, right? And number two, you got to be precise. You have to answer in the form of a question. And those people on the show, they are brilliant, aren't they? I mean, they're up there going, Alex, I'll take ancient Byzantine manuscripts for 400. I mean, what? If I was up there, I wouldn't even know the categories. I'd be going, Alex, can I buy a vowel here? You know, can the audience help me by yelling higher or lower? That's more my show, like Price is Right. It's just higher or lower. That's easy. But all this precision and brilliance, those people, I mean, you don't go on Jeopardy and go get something easy like, Alex, I'll take Earnhardt for 200. It's always, and isn't Trebek such a snot? I'm sorry, the answer is, what is Pierre? You're like, you didn't know that. You've got the card, Alex. Come on. Now, this is much better, or actually the more fun Jeopardy is Celebrity Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live. Have you seen that? Where they always have, they always have the guy playing Sean Connery, and he can never get anything right, but he's always messing with Alex Trebek. Like this one category was therapists, and the guy goes, Sean Connery goes, Trebek, I'll take the rapists for 200. Just name an article in the bedroom, an article of clothing in the bedroom. A chest of drawers? No. I mean, they just do a great job with that skit. These folks, what's the basic need for a C? What do C's want? They want answers and they want to be right. Exactly. They want to be right and they want to have answers. They're going to ask questions until the cows come home. They need answers. Ideal job? Yep. Anything precision-oriented. Architects, engineers, accountants. That's the kind of people that you want to be an accountant, right? You want a C to be an accountant. You probably don't want an I to be an accountant, right? Hey, sorry about that zero. So I missed 1 0. What's 1 0 among friends? Huh? Let's go get something to eat. No, that doesn't work, okay? You need somebody to be precise, all right? Now.